Hello everyone, my name is Jolie from Jolie Loves Beauty. This is my first official video coming to you guys straight from my little area, my little room. This is my bedroom slash office slash beauty room. It is my first time making a video, so I'm going to ask that you are patient and kind with me. During these videos, I'm going to be speaking to you about several things. My channel is going to be a channel where any woman that has suffered or suffering of chronic pain in their life wants to come to just vent or to just let go a little bit or just not even think about the pain that you are suffering. And how do we do it? By beauty. Together, we can talk about our problems. I'll share with you what it's like to live in chronic pain on a daily basis. And I will also do it while either putting on some makeup or wearing makeup, talking about my products, showing you what products have arrived. I am a Mary Kay consultant, so therefore I'm going to constantly be getting orders. At least once a month I'll get an order and I'll be able to share with you what I got. I'll be able to share with you different things about Mary Kay, but most of all I want to talk about how in the midst of all of the pain and all of the suffering that we go through every day, when we suffer of chronic pain, how in the midst of all of that we can be beautiful. In the midst of all of that we can feel beautiful. In the midst of all of that we can just get away to something that girls or guys get away to, which is makeup. I am fairly new at this, so like I said before, please bear with me. Now, one thing, I have been a Mary Kay consultant for about 2.5 years now, and I am very happy with it. I have about 45 customers, and they're all within my work area. I work at a call center as a team lead, and in that call center I have customers, both male and female. You know, between makeup, between colognes, perfumes, we also have skincare. All of us have skin. Whether you're a boy or a girl, a man or a woman, you have skin and you need to take care of it. Now, how do we deal with all this skin and underneath that or on it we're suffering and going through so many different things that is chronic pain? So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have been married for 30 years. My husband and I have 4 children, and we are very happy with our 4 children. 2 of them actually get married, one in June and one in July, and it's our 2 youngest ones. I have a daughter in the Army, and I have a son who's a locksmith, and we are all very happy with our lives, and we have all done very well. In those years, I have come to know a little bit more about myself through experiencing different situations. A lot of pain from my back, which I already knew because when I was about 12, I was diagnosed with scoliosis. I was told that I had scoliosis from a very young age. Living with scoliosis from the age of 12 all the way till now has not been easy. There's always been back pain, but I did not want to be the kind that I was going to be taking medication all the time. I didn't like it. I didn't care for it, so I never took medication. I never drank Tylenol or ibuprofen or none of that stuff. I just dealt with the pain every single time, all the time. I didn't realize that I had high tolerance for pain up until one day my husband mentioned it after being married, which from the age of 12 to the age of 14, which is where I got married, and that's a whole other story. Next video. I didn't know what it was like to live in pain and have this pain and deal with it through maybe taking a couple of Tylenol and being okay with it. Well, I wasn't okay with it. I didn't care for any pills. I just dealt with it, and I lived with pain all the time. And if you see me looking to the side a little bit, it's because I'm recording this on my iPad, which again will be another video as to why I'm not using a camera but my iPad. So if the quality is not so great, please bear with me until I can make it great. However, I dealt with a lot of pain. I dealt with just discomfort, just several things that I didn't have to. As time goes on, I worked. After bearing all my children, finally the children are in school full-time. I can go to work full-time without having to deal with nannies or babysitters or anything of that sort. By then, now I'm working full-time. So that's when my youngest, who is now 22, went to school. Now, since before that, I had worked jobs here and there, but I could never keep them because babysitting was always an issue for 4 children, too expensive. I decided to stay home. Now, He went to school when he was 4, so that means that for the past 18 years nonstop I've been working. Now, from having all this back pain, I always knew I had back pain. I always knew that I struggled with back pain. But until it was about 2011, 2012, when I was working at a different call center, and I just couldn't sit anymore. Sitting hurt so much. I couldn't sit straight. I kept fixing myself. I kept having to move. So if you see me moving a lot in my chair, you're going to understand why. Anybody of you that are watching that have chronic pain, you're going to understand exactly why I can't sit still. However, I'm going to do the best that I can for these videos because I really want to reach a community that goes through pain. Now, I also do talk a lot. So if you don't care to listen to a lot of talking, this might not be your channel. But if you want to hear what it's like to live with chronic pain and work and deal through it and understand and have someone to talk to and still feel beautiful and still feel competent and still feel able, keep on watching. So my kids are now working at going to school, going to school full time now. I get a job and I start working. I'm working, work up until, like I said, 2012. And I was in a lot of pain. So once my kids were in school full time, I worked several jobs up until I got here in Florida, and I was working a job at a call center as well. And while I was sitting, it was very hard for me to work. Just sitting there, I couldn't sit anymore. My back hurt so bad, I wanted to cry. So I would let my boss know and tell him, listen, I gotta go home, I can't stay. Until eventually my husband told me, you need to quit your job because you cannot continue to work this way. So I had been at my job for a year. I was in love with my job. I loved it. It was call center, it was customer service, it was everything that I was accustomed to. The people were great, the company was great, and I had to go. I had to quit. So I stayed home, and the pain was debilitating. The pain had me a person who had been very, very independent. I knew how to drive. I did everything. I didn't depend on anyone. I took care of my kids. My husband used to work a second shift, so I used to get up, go to work, come home, rest, watch some TV, and go to bed. He was hardly ever home. He slept and worked, slept and worked. So I was the one that took care of the kids, and I was okay with that. I didn't have a problem with that, you know. So my husband did help me a lot, so don't get me wrong. He did, very helpful. So either way, very independent, a person who took care of herself, a person who took care of her children, a person who didn't depend on anybody else to do anything for them, now sat in a chair, couldn't move. If she walked, it hurt. If she sat, it hurt. If she laid down, it hurt. If she was on her side, it hurt. If she walked, it hurt. If she did anything, it hurt. Everything hurt. My whole body was a bruise, complete, entire bruise. And I didn't understand why I was hurting. It was like all my nerves were on end, lit up. Everything hurt. My whole body felt like I was bruised, and I didn't understand why, and I was depressed, and I had anxiety, and I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know why I was hurting so much until finally I was signed up under my husband's insurance, and I started going to see a doctor. Well, the doctor told me I had arthritis. They put me on some medication, meloxicam I believe it was, and they told me that should help with the pain. Well, it didn't. I was on Flexeril. That put me to sleep. They had me on other medications between Flexeril, meloxicam, other medications for pain that I was taking. I was always dumbed out, half asleep, and I didn't like it. That's not who I was. That's not who I wanted to be. So then, finally, I find a doctor. I start looking through Google, and I start trying to figure out who am I going to see. At this point, I decided I was going to see a rheumatologist because I had already been told that I had arthritis. So I'm going to go see a rheumatologist and find out why I'm hurting so much. So I find a doctor here in Lakeland, Florida. His name is Dr. Tallow, and he explains to me that it could be a number of things. By what I was explaining to him, my body, how it hurt, how I was tired, how I was fatigued, how I couldn't sleep, how I was excited, how I was anxious, how I had irritable bowel syndrome, how I was going through so many different things. Stressed out all the time. My eating habits were horrible. Everything was just a mess. My sleeping was a mess, everything. So he says, okay, let's rule out lupus, let's rule out arthritis, let's rule out a whole array of things, and let's see what can it be. So I got blood work. They took out about 11 tubes of blood out of me that day. I got x-rays of my hands, of my knees, of my hips, of my back. All kinds of x-rays were done and all kinds of things were taken. I already knew I had degenerative disc disease before because I had gone to a back doctor looking for help, and he told me I had degenerative disc disease, which is where the discs between your vertebrae, the little sponge that cushions each vertebrae from touching each other, those discs were degenerating. They were evaporating. They were going away, so now I had bone on bone. So any kind of sitting or moving or anything that had to do with impact on my spine hurt. Sitting here right now hurts. Smack dab in the middle of my spine where the curve is at. From the scoliosis, it's on fire. But here I am. I keep smiling. It's one of the traits of people that have, that live with chronic pain. We learn how to smile through the pain, and sometimes people don't even understand how much pain we're in. They won't even believe it. He does all the blood work, comes back and tells me, you don't have lupus, you don't have arthritis, you don't have this, you don't have that, everything is good. And I said, okay, now that you have ruled all of that, where is the pain coming from? So he had me stand up. He told me exactly, again, he asked me again, where exactly is the pain? I said, he started telling me, I'm going to go to certain pinpoints in your body and you're going to tell me if that hurts. So he went on my shoulders, ouch. My shoulder blades, ouch. My elbows, my hips, my knees, down my back. Everywhere he touched hurt, especially in those points. He said, okay, you may have a seat. I said, did that clear up where the pain is coming from? He said, yes. He said, I thought this is what it was, but I wanted to rule out anything else. You have what is called fibromyalgia. Now, fibromyalgia is an illness that, for those of you that have it, understand that it is an illness that does not come up in x-rays, does not show up on blood work, does not show up in any testing. So all kinds of tests have to be done in order to rule everything else out before you are diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So when he told me that, I felt a relief because there was a name to what I had. Now I told him, okay, what is it? It's called fibromyalgia. Now what is it? He says it's a disconnect between your brain and your nervous system. Pretty much your nervous system is always on and is constantly telling your brain that it hurts. It means everything, your whole body, everything, your head, your nose, your ears, your eyeballs, your face, your shoulders, your back, your knees, your elbows, your hands, feet, ankles, name it. If it's part of the body, it hurts. Now, but there really isn't anything wrong. Nothing has to be wrong for you to be hurting that way. Now I said, that makes sense, a lot of sense. I felt a relief. I felt sort of like finally I could breathe again because there's a name, there's something that really does exist to what I'm going through. I was going nuts. I didn't understand. Doctors are telling me one thing or another, and then finally he does all this blood work and it comes back and it's nothing. So there it is. It had a name, and it was called fibromyalgia. Now I started medication. I take Lyrica. I take 2 100 milligram tablets a day. So I take 100 in the morning and 100 at night. Twice a day, 200 milligrams a day. So that helped me come back to the working world. And I've been working now in my current job for 4 years. So that helped me come back to the working world. And let me apologize for the completely abrupt stop. I want to make sure that the videos aren't too long, so I'm going to stop this video right here, and then I'll continue the video next week. So please do subscribe to my channel. Like my video is going to help me a lot. I'm going to bring more videos that I have pre-recorded. I'm trying to do my best to upload them into the computer as best I can. So if any of those videos do work out, I'll load those up as well, as long as they are good footage. I won't always be talking about my pain and my anguish and my suffering, but I will bring to you from time to time how I'm feeling that day while I'm doing my makeup. So thank you so much again for watching. Remember to smile on purpose with a purpose, knowing that God is good and in control of all things. Until next time, thanks again.